What's up, y'all? It's Chris. Here to do my Strikeforce Miami predictions going down next Saturday, airing on Showtime. Undercard, nothing really to talk about except for Joe Riggs versus Jay Haran, which I think should be on the televised portion of the card. You know, I'm a fan of Joe Riggs. I'd like to see him win this fight. You know, the reason that this fight should be on the televised card, aside from the fact that it's a good fight, the winner of this fight more than likely is going to be the number one contender for the main event, for the winner of the main event. So you want to showcase your challengers, you know, to build your upcoming fights. So just business sense, it makes sense. Plus, like I said, it's a good fight. Once again, I am a fan of Joe Riggs. I would like to see him win, but I got to favor Jay Haran. Jay Haran's got an advantage in the wrestling department. I think if the fight stayed standing for the majority of it, I'd favor Joe because he's got a lot of power, and Jay Haran's been stopped by, like, Brad Blackburn, for instance, who doesn't have nearly the power of Joe Riggs, but I think Jay's just going to fight smart, take Joe down, and pretty much control him to a decision. You know, Joe, as much as I like him, he has a lot of issues going outside the ring. You know, he's had substance abuse problems with pain, with medications and whatnot. You know, he's just had a really hectic life, you know, and sometimes it just detracts from his focus. And Jay Haran's a very focused fighter at this point in his career, so I'll go with Jay Haran to win this by decision. Next up, we got Bobby Lashley versus Wes Sims. Wes Sims, a last-minute replacement, and you know, in all honesty, Bobby Lashley's first opponent was rejected by the Florida State Athletic Commission, and Strikeforce was scrambling to find him an opponent, and they ended up with Wes Sims. In all honesty, I wish they would just scrap this fight entirely and put the Riggs Haran fight on in its place. I understand why Lashley's on the card. You know, he's got name recognition. I think maybe Strikeforce hoping to get some of, you know, the same buzz that UFC got with Brock Lesnar. However, you know, Bobby Lashley, from what I've seen, just is not on the same level as Brock Lesnar. He doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the strength, I should say. He doesn't have the athleticism. He just doesn't seem to have the same amount of talent as Brock Lesnar, you know. I just don't think he's going to pan out to be as good of a fighter, mixed martial artist, as Brock Lesnar is. Plus, he's still doing pro wrestling on the side, you know, so he can't be completely focused on the fight. Not that he needs to be in this case, but whatever. Wes Sims, you know, he came off that horrible stint on The Ultimate Fighter where he got tapped by, I believe, Justin Wren in the first round. He stands no chance here. Lashley's going to use his superior wrestling, take him down, and ground and pound him most likely to a first-round stoppage. And nothing's really going to be accomplished. This win does nothing for Bobby Lashley other than get another win on his ledger. So, you know, hopefully he'll get a more suitable opponent for his career, you know, next. Nothing too high of a step, but just something more worthwhile than this Wes Sims fight. Next up, speaking of kind of insignificant fights somewhat, Herschel Walker, former NFL running back for the Cowboys and the Vikings, former Heisman Trophy winner for the Georgia Bulldogs, I believe. You know, making his MMA debut at, I believe, age 47 against Greg Nagy. Never heard of Nagy. Pros and cons to this fight. Obviously, the cons being Herschel Walker has never fought before. He's 47 years old. He's making his MMA debut, and he's getting a shot on Strikeforce on Showtime nonetheless. Which, you know, is really bad for fighters that, you know, have been fighting a lot longer and really worked hard to get to this point. But the positives are Herschel Walker's been getting a lot of publicity for this fight. He's been on ESPN. He's been on other outlets, Howard Stern. He's getting a lot of publicity, which is the reason why he's on this card, in all honesty. You know, to draw attention and casual viewers, not just hardcore fans, to watch this card. So, in that respect, it's good for Strikeforce, at least. I don't think Herschel has any long-term potential in the sport. I don't even know if he has any short-term potential. We'll find out. Hopefully for him, his debut isn't much like Johnny Morton, another former NFL player who had a debut in a disastrous debut in a K1 Dynamite against, I believe, Bernard Aka, where he got knocked out in like a minute and a half or something. As for his opponent, Greg Nagy, I don't know anything about the guy. I got to imagine he's not too tough of a challenge. I mean, I don't think Strikeforce wants Herschel Walker to go out there and get embarrassed. I can't really make an accurate prediction on this fight. I can't make any analysis or anything, but I'm going to say Walker's going to win because I'm sure Strikeforce, unlike myself, has seen Nagy and know what to expect from him and think that Herschel can take him out. So I'll go with Herschel to win this by decision. Don't hold me on that, though. Next up, Robbie Lawler against Melvin Manoof. Good fight. Should be an exciting fight, probably fight of the night or one of. Both guys just like to stand and trade bombs. Unfortunately for Robbie, Melvin's better in that department. He's the better kickboxer. He's competed in K1, although he hasn't had a lot of success in K1. He has competed at that level, a much higher level in stand-up. fighting than Robbie Lawler has. Robbie's more well-rounded. He's got the better wrestling. He could probably take Melvin down if he wants to, but I don't know how much success he'll have there. He never really has imposed himself too much in that department. I don't see Robbie submitting Melvin. You know, Robbie just isn't much of a submission artist. Sure, he can always catch a Kimura or something, or maybe even a rear naked choke, but I just don't see it happening. For the majority of this fight, I expect it to be a stand-up fight, and I got to go with Melvin. Like I said, you know, both guys that's their strong suits, but Melvin is better in that department all around. It'll be interesting to see how Robbie's chin holds up to Melvin's power, and most, you know, like vice versa. But I'm gonna go with Melvin to win this fight by TKO. Chris Cyborg Santos defending her women's title that she just won against Marius Zaromskis. Gotta say, I don't know a whole lot about Marius. I was fortunate to be on the Strikeforce conference call last week and did get to speak with her briefly. Seems like a very good, smart fighter. You know, knows what her strengths are. You know, doesn't. Even though I don't know a lot about her, seems like she knows what she's doing in there. You know, at least that's what I got. But anyways, Cyborg, strong fighter, probably has a stand-up, the advantage in the stand-up. I'm not for sure. You know, Cyborg has a lot of power, but her technique's a little wild. You know, but with her strength and size, she's just able to, you know, overpower her opponents. As for Marius, she's been training Muay Thai more, but I believe that her strength is on the ground in the jiu-jitsu department. I believe that's where she has an advantage, although when I asked her about that, she said she's a well-rounded fighter. But she does have an advantage in the jiu-jitsu department. So if she can get this fight to the ground, she should be able to get the better of it. Not saying she'll be able to submit Cyborg, but I'm just saying I think she has an advantage in that department. On the feet, I can't really say in all honesty. But I would give Cyborg a bit of an edge because of her power. I think if she lands solidly on most women in that division, or most women in general in the mixed martial arts, she's going to be able to hurt them. The interesting thing about this fight to me is that it's 5 rounds. You know, I can't imagine that Chris Cyborg has a lot of, you know, as muscular as she is, that she has a great cardio, especially if the fight goes late. So if Marius is able to survive, I don't want to say survive, but draw this fight out, I think she may have an advantage there. We shall see. You know, I don't have anything to substantiate that on, other than the fact that I just cannot imagine Cyborg having a deep, you know, cardio tank with that much muscle. But as for the fight itself, I gotta go with Cyborg. You know, proven a commodity in my opinion. Looked really good in the fight over Gina Carano, her last fight where she won the title. So I'll go with Cyborg to win this fight by, I'll say stoppage, somewhere mid-rounds, second, third round. But I'm expecting a good fight, you know. Really look forward to it. On to the main event, we got Nick Diaz against Marius Zaromskis. Now, this is for Strikeforce's inaugural welterweight championship. Nick Diaz, I'm sure if anyone's seen any of my videos in the past or heard me talk on the radio show, is one of, if not my favorite fighters. Guy's an entertaining fighter, pretty exciting fighter. As for Marius, if you haven't seen him, or a lot of them, or don't know who he is, I will put a link in the information part for a YouTube highlight clip done by Genghis Khan. You can kind of get caught up on Marius and see what he's about. And plus, you can check out Genghis Khan's channel. I think the guy does the best mixed martial arts videos. This is my opinion, but that's what I think. Anyways, Marius is a very dynamic fighter. Standing, great, he's very explosive, good high kicks, good punches. Nick, as we know, well-rounded, very well-rounded. Great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt, has huge advantage on the ground if the fight gets there. Improved stand-up. Doesn't have a lot of power standing, but he just overwhelms his opponents. He just breaks them down over time, just landing little shots here and there. Good body shots as well. Nick's really been improving on throwing shots to the body and breaking down fighters. Solid chin. His chin's definitely going to get tested in this fight. That's the thing, you know. I think a lot of people think Nick's chin's bulletproof because he's taken a lot of shots and been able to sustain them, any damage. But let me tell you, if Marius lands a solid high kick here, I could definitely see him hurt Nick and possibly finish him off on the ground. However, this is a 5-round fight. I think Nick's got more advantages in this fight. I haven't seen Marius go deep in a fight, you know, but Nick, it's funny because even though he is well known for being a weed smoker, his cardio, the longer the fight goes, the better he seems to get. It's amazing, you know, the guy just throws so many punches around. It's incredible to see. The fight hits the ground, like I said, Nick has a huge advantage there. I do think he could submit Marius quite quickly. Standing, I'm interested to see how that plays out, you know. Nick can give as good as he takes, but I mean, like I said, he's in there with a real beast on the stand-up. But ultimately, I'm going to favor Nick. I just think he's more well-rounded. I think as the fight goes longer, I think he's going to get stronger, as I said. First time fighting a welterweight in a long time, but he said he likes that weight. I think that's the ideal weight class for Nick. So I'll go with Nick to win this fight by submission, somewhere third, fourth round. But don't be surprised if Marius can catch him and hurt him and stop him. But I don't think that's going to happen. Anyways, be sure to check out the website, thewillbelovedfightshow.com. My Twitter, if you're interested, I'll put the links in the information part. Also, I'll put a link to Sammy J, new guy doing videos. Check him out. If you like his videos, subscribe to his channel. I'll be back next Sunday to get my thoughts afterwards. But until then, y'all,